I'd like to welcome returning guest Jordan Klepper to Sidewalks Entertainment. Hi, Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Lori, thanks for having me again.
Well, it's been a while since the last time we've had you on our show. Welcome back.
Has anything happened? Is there anything? Yeah, has anything been going on? I don't know. It's been pretty boring over here.
Well, I mean, I think since the last time we've had you on our show, I think you've had maybe 2 or 3 new TV series. We've experienced a global pandemic. I mean, how have you been? What was 2020 like for you?
You know what? I'm just thankful to still be here. It's been a wild year for everyone. The last year, pandemic aside, I started off thinking I was just going to cover a tumultuous political campaign. That's how it started, and it ended with insurrection at the Capitol and fleeing Washington, D.C., expecting to get phone calls from the FBI. So, 2020.
Jeez, oh my gosh. Yeah, many of us, of course, have seen your interviews out in the field with people voicing their opinions on today's politics. Now, in any of your interviews, has anyone ever second guessed themselves or changed their views on what they support after speaking with you?
I'd like to think I'm the kind of guy who's a thinker, that you go home and you're like, that guy was right. Oftentimes it doesn't happen in the moment. So those are the expectations that I've projected on other folks. I do think no matter what, when you are out in the field, though, the more time you spend with someone, the more chance there is to break down some of those walls. And so I even in this special went back and talked to Edward, somebody I had met at a Pennsylvania rally months earlier. And he still staunchly believes in a lot of things he believes. But even if we're not agreeing on political perspectives, we find ourselves on a beach talking about music, and we can at least find some common ground on listening to The Clash. And so maybe it's not going to happen in politics, but if you can find something to step away, you can at least have a little bit of shared humanity.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of fans that enjoy your political satire, but I imagine that you also have your share of negative feedback. What keeps you going despite the occasional clapbacks?
Well, I got pretty thick skin, I will say. I love being in the mix. One of the benefits of getting to work on The Daily Show is that you get to go out and you get to talk to people. And this past year was wild and it was dangerous. And suddenly you're traveling with security guards. But to go to the front lines and to talk to people about what they're feeling, what they're doing, watching people march up towards the Capitol, like I love being out there. Like as a comedian, you're about commenting on what's happening, and to actually be there while it's happening is always exciting. So I'll take those criticisms, I'll take those trolls, but I like just being there because it's fun to be in the mix.
The Comedy Central special, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah presents Jordan Klepper, Fingers the Pulse into the MAGAverse. Tell me about this special.
Well, the title is as long as the election season, so we wanted people to feel it there. This is sort of an opportunity for us to highlight what we've been through over the past year and show people who are fans of those pieces things they didn't get to see, show them behind the scenes about how some of the sausage gets made. Also to reconnect with characters that we've met before and see if their minds had been changed after the events of January 6th and where they were now. Even talking to a mayor in Albuquerque who's trying to get money from the Trump campaign because he still hasn't gotten paid for a rally that happened over a year ago. So it's a chance for us to reflect, but also catch up and see where we are. And so fans of the pieces will get a chance to look behind the scenes, and people who have never seen it will get to see sort of the context of this past year and hopefully get a little bit of hope for the future.
So what was your experience like being a part of the MAGAverse, as you call it?
Well, it's pretty eye-opening. I will say, functionally, it means you go to the middle of Pennsylvania more often than you'd expect to. So I'm a frequent visitor to places like Harrisburg and Lancaster. But once I found myself in DC on the 6th, like you do just see how this kind of rhetoric and this kind of energy, what starts as a fun concert or a football tailgating experience, can end into a groupthink that takes you into some pretty dangerous territory. So I enjoy being around the passion towards the political process, but also chronically in how we slide into a cultish behavior that can lead you to do some pretty awful things.
So, how many cities did you visit during the campaign?
Well, the special started, I started covering the campaign just before at the end of 2019, and we're traveling to, Harrisburg, Des Moines, kind of as the campaign got going, and every week heading out. And then everything stopped because of COVID, although Trump rally started up again. And so it kept me moving. Not only did I go to cities, there's pieces that I had to do on boats and rivers because even though the Trump campaign was holding rallies, Viacom didn't want me in places talking to people up close. So we had to interview people over bodies of water. So there's even pieces in this where I'm in Jersey talking to persons boat to boat, which again feels pretty on point for 2020, where you have to communicate to people with literal bodies of water in between you. The rest is just pretty much a blur.
Yeah, so I saw some of the clips, and I was even wondering that too, because not a lot of people were wearing masks. I mean, some of them were, but most of them weren't, and you can't really even tell that there was a pandemic going on in some of the clips.
It is very true. I think there are very few masks before or during or even after that pandemic. So the masks you will see are often worn simply by me. We addressed that in the special. Like it was unique to be out there and covering this. It felt like a majority of the country was responding to this pandemic by being safe and staying inside, but there were still these events that were exciting and fun for people, unless you were Herman Cain, in which case it wasn't quite as enjoyable as it was for other people.
So one last question before we wrap. Apart from MAGAverse, what's next? Do you have any projects that you're currently working on or anything coming up?
Well, as far as the Daily Show goes, I'm always up for traveling around and seeing where the country is and where we're heading. And so we're looking for our next piece. And as people can gather and as people can get together once more and talk about things that are important to them and or storm state capitol houses, I will be there. So I look forward to chronicling the future of America, hopefully from a safe distance. And maybe without a mask, fingers crossed.
Awesome. Well, great work. Unfortunately, we are out of time. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone, you can watch more of Jordan Klepper on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah Presents. Jordan Klepper fingers the pulse into the MAGAverse on Comedy Central and streaming on Paramount+. You take care, Jordan.
You too.
A very big thank you to today's guest, Jordan Klepper. And to you, our audience, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't checked out our website yet, it's different, it's new, and it has more of our celebrity interviews. So be sure to check out our website, sidewalkstv.com. And don't forget to add us. We are on your social networks. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But I am out of here, guys. I will see you next time. Take care.